So, Tucker Carlson was asked if Republicans are running away from the abortion issue, and as a huge pro-lifer, I loved his response. Here it is.
But the truth is, I think every single person in the country knows that abortion is, at best, a real tragedy, and at worst, what was clearly a form of human sacrifice. And that's why they had an abortion van outside the Democratic convention. I don't really think anybody sincerely shouts their abortion with joy. I think everybody knows that the cascading effects of that, never leave, and it's like the true tragedy. Taking of life is always the greatest tragedy. And I actually think the time is right to just say that out loud. This is the opposite of liberation, speaking of deception. The main thing that most people want, there's surveys in this, but we don't need surveys. We know this is children. That is the only real measure of wealth, is children. And anyone who's against children, making it harder for you to have them, making it easier for you not to have them, is the enemy of you and of humanity itself, is pro-death. And I just don't think in the end that wins. And I think everyone secretly knows it. And I think the hysteria and the extremism of the abortion people is testament to that. It's like when you know you're wrong, you get louder and more hysterical, right? And so I actually think it's become super obvious. They can't even, by the way, I felt like 30 years ago under Clinton, they had a pretty good formula for justifying abortion. They were like, well, it's safe, legal, and rare, and it's a tragedy when a 14-year-old gets raped. And I was like, well, that's for sure. It's a tragedy. And because it's so tragic, you need an abortion. Now they're like, no, you want to do something good for America? Kill your kid. Well, that's just my end at that point.
This, I think, is my favorite thing that I've ever heard Tucker Carlson say at one of these conferences, because there's a lot of, viral clips of Tucker Carlson and other conservatives speaking at them. I really loved this because of how candid he was and how true everything he said was. I share his view. I don't think there's a single person out there who thinks abortion is actually a good thing. I don't think, and I'll give you an example, just to take a less extreme example. It's like if you were home alone, completely alone, and there was a box of donuts on your table, a dozen donuts, and you ate the whole thing. Nobody in the world would think that eating the whole thing was a good thing. And you could bring up all these hypothetical situations like people do with abortion, and you could talk about how, but it could be okay to eat the donuts this time and this time. That's fine. All that's fine, whatever. But at the end of the day, there's this intuitive sense in all of us that it's just not good to eat 12 donuts in one sitting. And it's the same way with abortion. We can talk about the stats. We can talk about the biology. All of that is important, and I think it should be talked about. But at the end of the day, it's actually not really needed, because everybody knows in their heart that murder is bad, that death is a bad thing. That is a core thing. If you have a loved one who dies, you're not happy about it. Even if you're religious, you mourn. You still mourn because death is a bad thing. In fact, all of Christianity is built on the fact that the Messiah came to save people from their sins, yes, but also the fact that he rose on the third day. He was resurrected. He overcame death. That is what Christ did. And so, and Christianity is the largest religion in the world. And so, if anything, that should be a testament to how simple yet profound that belief is in the hearts of men. Everyone knows it. And it is because by supporting abortion, you are always supporting death. There's no alternative. There's no way to support it and support life at the same time. And that's, of course, as Tucker Carlson says, death is the single worst thing to support. So I share Tucker Carlson's optimism for the pro-life position for that reason. And this is the other thing as well, going to the other side of it. Never before has the information about biology or birth been so readily available, because for a long time, probably, I wasn't alive, but back in the early 90s with other Democrats talking about it being safe, legal, and rare, they were able in many ways to probably keep the population ignorant in a way that just isn't possible anymore. The internet is out there. You can look. My wife is pregnant right now. We get to look every single week online on what size our baby is and what things have developed in her. And I can remember from week 7, they're like, oh yeah, right now her ears are developing. That kind of information, I could be wrong, maybe I'm showing my age here. I don't think it was available in the same way in the 90s. I'm not saying people didn't have that information. I'm just saying it wasn't on an app on your phone. Now it is. And so that lie of it's not a human, it's not real, it's not life, it doesn't really play anymore. And I think that's what Tucker Carlson is saying here. You just can't fight the truth. It's true. It is. It was. It will be. It's reality. It's reality. And so, of course, there's going to be bad actors who want the human, they love the human sacrifice. There's a few people out there who truly do worship Satan. They really do love death. But that's very few amount of people, I think. And as screwed up as certain people are, that is still hard to defend for pretty much everyone. For that reason, I'm very optimistic about the pro-life position. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you haven't already, go down below, like the video, subscribe to my channel, and watch another video.